Okay, I'm going to give you a tour of the classroom and shop. And as we enter here, we enter into the classroom. As you can see, we have the desks here. They're all numbered. So you have a assigned seat, and the number matches your safety glasses and your cleanup assignments. If we go on down here, we have some instructional posters on the wall, some Student of the Month for our Academy plaques. We have cleanup assignments. This cabinet's where I have documents that I'm handing out and textbooks for resources. We have the whiteboard and screen. Over here is my teacher station. That's where I sit and teach from when we are in school. And some informational stuff up there. If I spin back around, I'm now in the front of the class. Some more instructional posters and information. In the back there is bookcases with binders that each student's use. And then there is some magazines for reference. If we come over this way, this is my office. Students aren't allowed in my office, but this is where I do my work, and my printer, computer, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much the classroom. If we head out into the shop, this way, you can see the shop through the windows. We exit right here. Here's a hand tool panel, has our safety glasses. You notice everything is where it's supposed to be, which is very important. A cabinet here that we store stuff in that we use all day long, and then we get to some tools. Here are two mini lathes. And the next tool here is the bloom machine that is used for boring for the bloom hinges, and we can also do line boring for adjustable shelves. Right across from that, we have two Powermatic 8-inch joiners. We joint all the edges of our solid wood. Moving on down, we have our 25-inch planer, and over here we have our sliding compound miter saw with a tiger stop. If we continue, I'll show you the front of the planer. Here's the front of the planer. We'll come on around this way. This is the wood room. This is where we store all our wood. We mainly have pine, oak, and alder. And then over here is the roll-up door to go outside, and our plywood storage with some MDF, birch plywood, and oak plywood, and a few various other things. Heading back to the shop. This room right here I call the laser room. It's a catch-all. It uses a lot for storage, but we have a computer and a laser engraver, so we can laser engrave projects. Right outside here is a CNC router. We use the same computer for the laser to run this router. And right next to it we have a router table. So that's one of 4 router tables we have in here. And if we continue along, we have 4 DeWalt scroll saws right there. If I turn back around here, we have 2 table saws back to back. This first table saw is probably the one that gets used the most. And if we're going to cut full sheets of material, we will take the fence and guard off the other side. So we have one big table. So there's our saw stops. Right over here, we have a sliding table on a saw stop. So when we need to square up material or cut long, narrow stuff that's too wide for the miter saw, but too narrow for the table saw, we'll use the sliding one. Coming around here, we have 2 drill presses. And in here, this is the finish room. This is where we do our staining and the spraying of lacquer on projects. Right now, we have a whole bunch of cabinets in here. These cabinets go to the kitchen and bathrooms, to the project house that we make here, or that we build. And then we have the rack systems and a little spray booth over here. And then this is the storage, and that yellow container has all our stains and other things in it. Coming back into the shop, we have this machine right here. This is an automatic edge bander. Put the edges on plywood and melamine. And if I turn and take you upstairs right here, this area right up here is the clamping area. Okay, it's not very big to work in. We do store stuff up here at times, but I have all the pipe clamps and other miscellaneous clamps and the glue table. So whenever we're gluing stuff together, doors or making wider boards, we use this area here. You can see out into the shop. Not a big shop, but not a small shop. We always need more space. So we'll head back down. The next machine we'll come up to is this one. This is another saw stop. This one we use for dadoing, rabbiting, and grooves. So that's our saw stop for that. Right over here, we just got this wide belt sander in, the dual head belt sander. So we have two different grits of paper on it. And then right here where the trash can is, I'm going to build a cabinet to hold that miter saw. So we'll have a second miter saw station. I'm working on that. Right over here, we have two router tables set up to make doors. So one will run the stiles and rails, and one will run the end grain, the ends of the rails to make the doors. And this is a cabinet for the project house. So right in here, this is our workbench area. All the workbenches are that we work on it. We have some sinks. We have our push brooms, our dustpans, dust brooms. So if you notice, I am very organized in here. There's a place for everything and everything in its place, and we try to keep that. We'll go up these stairs here, and I'll show you the other area up here on the other side of the shop. This area here, when we do our face frames, we have a Castle pocket hole machine right here to do the pocket holes, and then we have our pneumatic slanted face frame table for assembling with the clamps. We have a table here to work on. Over here we have lockers for all the students. Freshmen do not get lockers up here, but my sophomores will share a locker with someone, and then my juniors and seniors have their own locker. Okay, and I'll give you another view of the shop from up here. Goes across like that, and we'll head back downstairs, and I'll show you the sanding area and the tool room, and that's about it. We turn this way, we go back in here. This is my sanding area. This is where we do a lot of sanding. We have a spindle sander, oscillating horizontal belt sander. We have a downdraft sanding machine. Back in the corner we have a little belt sander there and disc sander. I have a bandsaw that's on a dolly there being stored. And then these are the upper cabinets for our Pathway project house, just being stored there temporarily. Come in here, this is our tool room. So this is where we keep all our hand tools and nuts and bolts and screws and sandpaper and glue and all that stuff. So again, you see everything's organized. I can find out if something's missing right away. Got some router bits over here, routers, some other stuff, sandpaper, glue, and we have some storage down below, air compressor, a little planer, mortiser, another miter saw down there, and just some odds and ends here. So that is our tool room. Come back into the shop, and that is about it. That is the woodworking and cabinetry shop here at Monache High School. And with that said, newbie out.